think that since I'm a very analytical person, I'm always for the analysis. So before doing something, you need to make proper analysis. As I said previously, the market analysis, you need definitely to understand who your competitors are, what are the services that you need to provide, what is the niche you are going to take, who you are going to target. Is it, as Irina said, students, or maybe mothers, or maybe some, I don't know, elderly people or somebody else, and what are the services that maybe are crafted for that people, particularly maybe for somebody who is transferring pets, and so on and so forth. You have to think of the ways how you can stand out in front of the competitors, especially if those are highly competitive markets. And as Ekaterina said, it's not the situation that was like 15 years ago. Now the competition is high and you need to take into account all the details. And once you analyzed everything, you chose your niche, you need to craft the proposals for the passengers and the drivers to make sure that those are appealing, and actually the drivers would want to work for you and the passengers would be interested in using your service. Then the technical preparations, I guess, and those are all the details that Irina explained about the technical side, because indeed you cannot just launch if you do not set up things perfectly. So you need to make sure that you not only set everything up, but you also test that everything is going well, that the orders are passing through, that the payments with cards are working, that the gateway is set up in a correct way, that the drivers know how to use the system, that your support is working well, that everything is in place. Because when you actually start working, then you cannot organize like all of that from scratch. You need to be prepared for the flow of orders. And here we are coming back to the question that you need to have the marketing campaign, because it's not just working that app, the app is there and everybody's interested in using it. So you need to attract the drivers, train the drivers properly, so that the drivers would understand the kind of the vibe, so to say, you want to transfer to the passengers, that the transportation is safe, that the drivers are polite, the level of the service is exactly how you expect it to be, that the drivers are not lost with which button to push in which situation. So all the tests are being done well. And when this is done, you need to work for the passengers. So you have the drivers that you already invited to the system who know how to use the system, and they are online, and you made sure that they are online. You inform them that the marketing campaign for the passengers is starting on that day, for example. So be prepared, because as Victor said, you cannot make the second impression. You are just inviting the passengers, and if the drivers are suddenly offline, then nothing is working. So the drivers are there, everybody's prepared online, and when you make the marketing campaign for the passengers, the drivers need to show the good level of the service, and then the passengers are coming, and hopefully they would be like, they will go on coming. And later on, you need to dive into the data. You need to understand whether the balance is actually that you have the sufficient amount of drivers, the sufficient amount of passengers. If not, then what is not working well. You cannot ignore the signs. For example, if there is a huge amount of cancellations from the passengers, you need to deep dive into the details why exactly the passengers are canceling. And it may be the case that, for example, you didn't have enough drivers, and it takes a long time for the driver to come for the passenger to get them, and the passenger just doesn't want to wait for such a long time, and they cancel because they know that there is some other competition on the market, and why should I wait for, let's say, 15 minutes if I can wait for like 3-5 minutes or like 7 minutes for an Uber or Lyft or any other competitor on the market. So you need to make sure what spheres are important to be worked on. It's either getting more drivers or somehow catering for the passenger needs in some other way. Maybe check your prices, maybe you need to make the prices lower for the passenger to be more interested to wait for the driver for like 15 minutes, or like maybe reach out to the passenger after that, like apologizing that there was some, I don't know, delay with the trip. Maybe they want to test the system another time with some discount, and so on and so forth. So it's a long-term relationship, not only between us and the partners, but also between the partners and their users, both the drivers and the passengers. So lots of work need to be done here too. make this balance. And yeah, that's it. And then it's just a fun game to make sure that the balance is still there and everybody gets what they need. But generally, it starts this way.